I haven't been here since June. So it's been a while. I'm a backslidden story slammer. And so a lot of you, I don't know, but I did just want to say, I do think it's really neat. I think it's really sort of rare and interesting that, you can come and like meet with people you don't know at all and just be sort of astonishingly vulnerable. I just feel like this doesn't really happen in any other sort of part of daily life. You can sort of just lay things out on the table, and you're not sort of judging yourself too much beforehand, and you're just sort of, it's this combination of humor and pathos. So anyway, that's my little capsule review of what we've got going here, and it's a really great thing. So it's cool, even though it's the last one. So I was sort of thinking about what I would talk about, and I sort of coming up, I still sort of feel that I'm suffering from a huge lack of planning, wondering, well, I could talk about how, I've been getting a little flack because, like, so some of my friends give me shit because, like, oh, my beard looks like it's turning white, and I'm like, no, it's just, I've got this sort of two-tone thing going on. It's blonde, all right? Like, I'm an actual blonde, it's still the remnants, okay? So I could have got, I could go that route. I could not tell a story for 5 minutes about my facial hair, which I wouldn't put past me. I could talk about, another thing also, when I saw the theme, I was thinking, well, for me, I sort of fixated on the whole blank page thing and sort of new beginnings, but for me, like, a blank sheet of paper, like a fresh start, that's sort of like a terrifying spot. So I'm a writer, I'm a music journalist, and I'm also an opera librettist, which basically means I'm the playwright for operas that I end up doing, which I'm still in the beginning stages of, but I've got some projects I'm in the works of. But for me, as that kind of person, like, that's sort of a terrifying, sort of stagnating state, is to sort of not, have these ideas sort of swirling around in your head, and they want to sort of get out, and you're not feeling comfortable doing that yet, or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, that's sort of a weird segue into what I guess I'm really going to talk about really briefly, is that I was trying to think of something that happened since June that was like fairly momentous for me. And I guess that was when I had a conversation with somebody I never thought I would actually have. And that is that basically it was a conversation with a really dear friend of mine, someone I'd known since I was a freshman in college at the school, this local school, Roberts Wesleyan College. We were both voice majors there, and she ended up transferring after the first year, and we sort of didn't stay in touch for a really long time. Then that was 2002, then fast forward to like 2009, I had moved to New York for an internship, and she was also in the area. We sort of caught up then, and it was really cool, and she was pursuing the opera career, and I was doing the writing thing, and that was really cool. And I sort of started to, even at that point, started to fall for her or whatever. And this whole time is going on, we're sort of staying in touch. We're, going to concerts or whatever in New York, and it's cool. The whole time, that whole time though, however, she had a boyfriend, a serious boyfriend that she'd been with for many years, at least a few. And so sort of like this entire time, at some point we decided to sort of start to write, co-write an opera together that sort of ends up being this kind of like quasi-dual memoir about our time as sort of music students, and sort of what that means to sort of like the larger picture of how do you sort of stay true to your art and your originality without sort of succumbing to the system. And it sort of was supposed to have to do, it also has to do with vocal pedagogy, really sort of like in the weeds kind of shit. Anyway, we're sort of still working on this, because this is the kind of thing that really good friends could potentially be more. This is what we do, right? You write operas together. So anyway, this whole thing is going on, and actually, at some point, like a year ago, I knew they were serious. She had moved to Germany because that's where her now husband is from. And so, yeah, so they get married, and this whole time, you know, I'm in a position where, like, look, it was never the right timing, what can I do, you know, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you're not trying to, like, rock the boat, you're not trying to, you're trying to be clear-headed, and you're not trying to think selfishly, and you're not trying to sort of blow up the relationship, the substantive friendship that you had, and what's there, what's actually there in a concrete way. You know, you don't want to lose that either. So, you know, at that point, really all I can do, I'm thinking, well, ultimately, I just want what's best for this other person. And so I'm going to just sort of hang on to this, and I'm not going to bring it up, and maybe she already knows already. Anyway, at some point, it reaches a tipping point where you kind of have to sort of give yourself permission to move on. Even if, like, it's not about sort of getting the result that you want, it's just sort of getting to a mindset where, okay, now I can pursue something else. Like it's a subconscious thing. So, long story short, I ended up having this conversation with her that I didn't intend having. It was sort of like on the verge of tears and like quasi-emotional, because it's like, oh crap, like what am I doing? Like this is so like pathetic and stupid. But it ended up being really, long story short, I'm not going to go into any details, not that I feel like I could recall any at the moment, to be honest. But like, long story short, it was fine, and she felt like it only sort of strengthened the relationship that we had, and we sort of really kind of came together on it and sort of saw eye to eye on it in a way that we kind of always had, I think, in an sort of unspoken way. So I guess what I'm saying is, relating that back to the blank sheet of paper, it's sort of just about, there's a certain point, I think, where you just kind of have to get the words on the paper, and you have to, like, you know, be clear-headed about it, and don't be impetuous necessarily, like, you know, think it through, but you kind of have to sort of push through that writer's block, or that emotional block, or whatever it is that's sort of keeping you from doing what you need to do. And I feel like I'm better for it now. So that's it. Thanks for listening.